Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sales Ops Effect with your host, myself, Charlene Thompson. Today is a quick one because I wanted to talk to you about time and efficiency. Because if it's one thing that rolls through every single thing that I do, it is efficiency. I mean, if there's one thing, there's tons of stuff. There's integrity, there's efficiency, there's actual quality and value and purpose, but all that kind of stuff. But efficiency is something that I learned by necessity really, because with my ADHD brain, well, late diagnosed neurodivergent, so I did not know what was up with my brain. I just knew that I needed it to work, and it didn't work like how everybody else's brains were working. And I read all of the books and I read all of the habit stuff, and they didn't work for me. So I had to find a way to make my working life work for me so that I could get things done. And I was quite successful in that. And yes, this is just my way, and I've trained lots of people. This is the first workshop I ever created, actually, was my time management workshop. And like I say, that was based off of what I'd created for myself. And it really helped a lot of people. It definitely helped me. And actually, it's one of the things that I don't know what happens. You get to a certain point as you grow up professionally or personally or both, really. And you just don't realize that you still need to do the pillar things, the things that you did along the way to get you into a certain order. Yes, things change and evolve as we grow, but there's certain things that you don't necessarily realize that you should be doing for yourself, like all of those reviews. And it's just like, and sometimes unless you have a coach or a mentor actively telling you, reminding you, hey, go and do this thing like you do when you are inside a company, then you won't always prioritize doing them because you've got all of the other things that you've got working on. And when you're working for yourself, it's like it's the working in the business as well as working on the business. Do you know what I mean? And we end up doing a lot of in the business, but not a lot of on the business. And I help people with their on the business stuff, whether they're solopreneurs or in companies that employ a lot of people. But it's just so interesting that you can still know this stuff and not apply it to yourself. So I want to tell you how I cleaned up my diary, how I went from feeling extremely frustrated, finishing the day and the week, feeling like I just hadn't done everything that I wanted to get done. And there were certain projects that I said, yes, I'm going to start this, I'm going to try that because, some things you just have to trial for a little while to see if certain avenues work. And I kept finishing the week and I just haven't done it again this week. And it's not like as if I wasn't doing anything. I was doing lots of other stuff, but I didn't get this thing done. And then so I'm thinking, am I procrastinating? What's going on? And then so I sat down and I applied my own flipping rules to myself. And I don't know why it's taking me so long to do this review. I think I'm going to have to actively put it in my calendar. And in fact, I will to make sure I do time reviews regularly again. And I don't just keep running. And I think, maybe it was just a bit of hubris where I know how to manage my time, even with my brain being like how it is, as in not really in any way, shape, or form syncing up with the general understanding of time, quite frankly. I think I kind of just got to a position where I thought, oh yeah, no, it's fine. I know what I'm looking at. And I've got so many different layers of protection built into how I manage my calendar that I just presumed I didn't need to do a review and a reset every now and again, and I was wrong. So I'm going to walk you through what I did briefly as I can be, because it's not going to be everything. It's going to be the beginning part to get you started. And I really want to know I really want to know what you think about it, and I really want to know if it helps. And also, I want to know if you want a workshop on this. It's something that I did offer out a few days ago online. And if so, I will do a quick workshop on it. That will be like an hour, maybe an hour and a half max. And you're going to need your calendar, a pen, paper, and a calculator, right? So I'm going to walk you through briefly the beginning part of it because the second part of it, it takes much more personal time and you don't want to be sitting here just listening to that, right? So, you ready? Please go and get yourself a pen, a paper, and ideally hold your calendar in front of you, either on your phone or on a computer so that you can see it, so that you don't have to just rely on your memory, right? Let's begin. We're going to be thinking about things in two different ways, and this works just as well for business owners, your solopreneurs, as well as if you're working inside an organization, because like I say, this is how I originally sorted out my calendar to work with my brain, because I don't think there is one right way of doing things. Everybody's a little bit different, but this is how it worked for my brain. So feel free to tweak it to do what your brain needs it to do. I'm not saying this will work for everybody. So this work, you can use this as a solopreneur. You can use it if you're working for another organization because it still helps to just balance out your workload, right? And we're going to be thinking about things in two ways. We're going to be thinking about business as usual and then projects. No surprise there, I'm a project manager. So the first thing I want you to do is list off all of the things that you do as business as usual. And so that can include networking, um, reading and responding to emails, doing your accounts, creating posts for marketing, and things like that. I'm going to be going through a solopreneurs list, but if you're working for a company, then do it based on your normal workload. What else is there? There's connecting with people on social media. There's commenting and looking at people's posts and things like that. And all of that kind of stuff. There's the follow-up phone calls, there's your follow-up outreach, there's your initial outreach, there's client work, that big thing that takes up an awful lot of time. Client work, all of the invoicing and accounts for that. Basically, write down your high level, relatively, list of categories of stuff that you do and just list them. Once you've done that, I want you to do the exact same thing, but with all of the projects that you've got going on in your mind. And projects have a start date and an end date. That's how you differentiate. And that could be like your website redesign or creating a landing page or a webinar that you're going to do, or maybe it's specifically some research on something that has a start date and an end date, or if you're trialing out a new version of how to outreach and things like that. So, or you're trialing out like dealing on Instagram or whatever, but projects that have a start date and an end date. You don't need to give a big description. It's basically you just give it a name and list what all of the projects are. Okay. Now you're going to go back to your BAU list, your business as usual list, and then think about each week. And yes, no 2 weeks are exactly the same. So we're going to have to generalize a little bit here. But thinking about each week, I want you to write down the time in terms of hours or half hours if you need to get that detailed, but the amount of time that you spend on each one of those business as usual activities each week, specifically week, right? Because we need to make these things small in order for us to really see the impact of it. And then once you've done that, go through to your projects list, and then you're going to write the total time, the total duration for those projects. So some projects are going to be over like a 2 week period. That's cool. You can write down the total duration, write down a total duration. And then I want you to think about the amount of genuine hours that it would take to do that project. Because sometimes when you put projects in our calendar and it goes over a few weeks, it can feel like we'll have tons of hours devoted to that thing, but we don't. In actuality, it could only be 8 hours over a period of 2 weeks. So this might take you a little bit longer, but try not to spend too much time here because you're going to be realistic. And because you've already done your business as usual list, that will get your mind into um, the actualities of what it feels like to do all of the little things that you need to do inside it and just be realistic as much as you can be without overwhelming yourself. Okay. So the duration of those projects, the total duration, and then the amount of hours specifically that you'll be spending doing on each one of those projects. Okay. And that's your total project list, total projects of everything that you've got going on in your mind right now. Okay. Because we're not going to necessarily be plotting everything right now, but please write them down so that they're not spinning around in your head because it just uses up unnecessary short-term memory, right? Then I want you to think about your working week and I want you to look at your start time and end time per day. And for some people, they work 7 days a week, 1 week, and then they work 5 days a week, or 7 days and 4 days, or it's always 5 days. It's your choice. If you write down your start time and end time, what it usually is, what it usually is, please do that. And then every single day, ideally you're taking your breaks because we need those. Then, you're taking a break for lunch and ideally you're walking around every hour. So that might just be 10 minutes every hour. You add that up. If you don't want to get too specific, then you just call breaks per day 2 hours in terms of your working day as total, right? And yes, obviously that changes, but give yourself 2 hours. Then, when you look at your total duration per day, I want you to add up the actual amount of specific neat working time per day. And then once you've added it up, you'll be able to add it up for the whole week so that you know what your neat working hours are, excluding all breaks for the whole week. So then you know what your total time is for your whole working week. Then I want you to go back and then add up what your business as usual time is for a week. Now, this might be the part that might scare some people because what they might realize is that their business as usual time exceeds the amount of total neat working hours they have in a week. That happens. Or it could be the other way around, and business as usual is actually a low number. And then you're thinking, so what am I doing with the rest of the time? That's okay too. I'm just saying all of this to let you know you might be feeling some feelings, and it's okay. Nobody's coming to hurt you or tell you off. But you want to compare those two numbers, your business as usual hours for the week and your total neat working time for the week, so that you just have that clear visual on how many hours you're working with. Because then, ideally, what we want to be doing afterwards, if I can speak properly, what we want to be doing afterwards is we look at our projects, and because we know how this is when we're actually putting it into the calendar, we're not doing this right now. Because we then know how many hours we expect these projects to take, we can look at our business as usual week and then say, okay, so if your neat working hours are, let's say, 30 hours, right? They might not be, it could be 40, it doesn't matter. If your neat working hours are 30 hours, but your business as usual hours are 25, then that means you have a total of 5 hours, 5 neat working hours every week to do other projects. And when you think of it like that, then that makes it easier for your mind to just be realistic about the fact that, yes, you want to try this and try that and build this landing page, but you mathematically do not have the time to do 15 hours worth of work on projects in the 5 hour window that you've got this week. And when you see it like that, it's just much more easier and helpful for you to be able to make the changes that you need. Okay. And so that's, the first half that I'm going to be that I've shared with you today, because obviously there's the rest of it. It's like, what do you do with all of this stuff? What happens if you look at your business as usual and some of these things, they take too long? Yeah, we make those changes. But I wanted to share that with you because it's a good place to start. And for a lot of people, that's all you would need to be able to start digging into these things. But after this point, you make the changes to the business as usual. You can make the changes to your project duration and your project hours. And then it's about actively plotting it out in the calendar. So my question to you is this something that you want to know how to do? If so, I'm still considering, because this podcast is being recorded on the 17th of March and it's going to go out on the 18th of March. Hello, everybody celebrating St. Patrick's Day. I hope you have a fantastic time. I don't have any Guinness to drink, but I'll do it belatedly. For everybody listening to this, do you want this training? If not, it's cool. I won't run it. But if so, I think I can run it on the 1st of April. But I will only do it if people are actually interested, because I definitely do not have time, having seen my schedule, to do the mass marketing campaign. So if so, let me know by emailing me at hello@salesopseffect with 2 E's.com, and I'll put that email address inside the show notes. If you just send me a quick email to tell me that you're interested, if there's enough people, I will set it up, and it would just be like £20 for like an hour or hour and a half, and we'll do that on the 1st of April. If not, then hopefully this information will really help you. Because I know I'm going to be talking about more time stuff going forward, but you can see with how quickly I had to go through it that there's, we need time to really let this stuff settle in our minds. So if that is something that you want to work through with me on a group training, then I'm happy to run it as a one-off. Because I'm like that. I share with my audience. But I hope it helped you. It definitely helped me. I'm looking at my calendar now with all of its lovely colors. And I'm not gonna lie, things are a little bit all over the place at the moment, particularly just like economically. And I needed how I do sales ops and general project management anyway is, you build a structure that is flexible enough for you to do whatever you want inside it, but the structure is there to save you from yourself, to save you from hurting yourself or other people. That's how I sort out sales ops processes as well, because you don't want anything to straitjacket you. And because that's how I think about everything, me now, I'm looking at my other monitor here, me now looking at my calendar and seeing this structure set out rather than it just swimming around in my head, I feel so much calmer than I did last week, than I did like flipping 2 weeks ago. And I've been spiraling for a couple of months, and that's unfortunate. So I'm sharing that with you. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think. Please send me an email, hello@salesopseffect.com, or if you're already connected with me on Instagram, just shoot me a DM. Um, the tag is salesopseffect.com. And like I say, if there's enough people that would like it, I'll run a workshop on the 1st of April where we go through this stuff together. And it'll be like £20, £20 each. I don't know what that is in dollars, but it's not going to be that much more. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think. And I'm looking forward to speaking to you very soon. We've got some fantastic podcast guests coming up. So ciao for now. See you.